Union members in the South earn more money than non-union workers. Union members' benefits also far exceed non-union benefits. This is a program about the benefits of unions as told by union members themselves. If you're thinking about joining a union, you'll be interested in the stories they have to tell.
One thing that it's done is give you a tremendous increase in salary. Plus, I don't have to work no 16 hours a day, 14 hours a day.
If my husband and I both didn't work, and we didn't work for a union, or work for a company that we have a union behind us, we wouldn't be making what we'd be making. We wouldn't even have this house.
To begin with, American union workers, on the average, earn 20% more than non-union workers. The idea of higher wages alone may make unions sound better to you, but there's also benefits to keep in mind.
The union dues are deducted from our paychecks weekly, something like $3.95 a week. That comes out to about 10 cents, a little less than 10 cents an hour. I mean, you never miss it. Hours is deducted before we get our checks, so you don't even know it's gone.
It goes towards your benefits to help pay for them, because they really do have a lot of benefits. They have dental and eyeglasses, because my husband's got several pair of glasses down there, and it doesn't cost anything at all.
Better insurance, dental insurance, I don't know, more holidays, more vacation pay, all of it. And I don't think we could got a penny if we wasn't union.
Those benefits are detailed in the form of a contract. The contract also makes your job secure because it's a legal document, like an insurance policy.
Worker, unless they have the union to protect them, they are like a ship being tossed to and fro with no direction. They may be in good with the boss today, and that's only a temporary solution.
Like I say, with our contract, once we sign it, once our members sign it, it's set up for a certain amount of pay for a certain amount of work.
As union members, workers can share better wages, better benefits, and job security. In addition to these fundamental reasons for joining the union, there's something called dignity, which comes from the workers having a voice in their everyday work life.
A union contract gives you that right to voice your opinion on issues, to have an input in your workstation and what you do in every day, what you're involved in. Without that contract, you're lost.
Now, let's hear about some of the problems with working in a non-union shop.
Well, non-union, they're on your back all the time for production. If you don't produce, you get out.
They keep the wages down. They work people the way they want to work them. If they want to work them 4 days a week, which they've been doing recently, that's all the pay they get, 4 days a week.
If you and your fellow workers weigh the benefits and decide to organize, you can bet your employer will fight back, sometimes dirty. The first thing he'll probably do is hire an anti-union consultant. These consultants are paid thousands of dollars to confuse workers. They'll tell you that unions take away your right to speak for yourself. They'll say that unions take away your legal rights, but here are the facts.
Employees have a legal right to join a union. The National Labor Relations Board is established to guarantee that the employees' rights are not violated. So the unions are is as American as apple pie is American.
Getting together with the other co-workers to come together under one common bond to negotiate what their working conditions are going to be like on a day-to-day basis, that is a right as far as I'm concerned. And that right is protected by federal law. But the only way that we're going to keep that right is that we have to exercise that right.
Unions are one of the last true forms of democracy that are left in this country. We got people that get upset with each other, and it's just like a big family. You've got members that get upset with each other, they fuss at each other, but it's all healthy because you've got decisions being made, and that's how they're made. Nobody's telling anybody what to do. The majority rules.
The biggest thing they'll do to scare you is to say, if you join a union, you'll have to go out on strike. The fact is, 98% of all contracts are settled without a strike. The strike is the ultimate weapon for union members to protest unfair treatment by their employer. It's used only as a last resort, and it's a decision made by the local workers themselves.
People decide on
People,
strike.
yeah, the people ourselves, we decide on
I mean,
strike.
it's voted amongst the employees, not the people of the union.
Now, you've heard the arguments that will come up in the campaign. If you and your fellow workers vote the union in, the next step is to negotiate a good union contract. Your employer is obligated by law to bargain in good faith with a union negotiating committee elected by you. The workers decide what to ask for in wages, benefits, and working conditions. The workers tell their negotiating committee what to do. Once the contract is finalized and signed by the union and the company, it becomes a legal document enforceable through the courts.
Before this was part of our contract, your promotion or your transfer to another department was mostly determined whether or not your supervisor or your manager liked you.
You got a contract, you working on the contract, and men don't like the way you grow a beard or comb your hair. I mean, you know, he can't come in there and say, well, you're going to have to leave.
One of the contract's most valuable features is the grievance procedure, a fair method for settling any dispute between you and your employer. Here's how the grievance procedure works.
We have a steward that represents the employees. And that steward can go to the supervisor or to the management side and try to settle the dispute. And if he can't settle the dispute, then he calls the local union, who is represented by business representatives. And they in turn can take the matter through a procedure.
And that's what got my job back, was this impartial umpire hearing the case. He had never seen me before, he had never seen the company before, and he listened to the case just like a judge and ruled that I was entitled to my job back with reinstatement, full seniority, full pay, and everything.
Union contracts are more important than ever. White-collar workers, including government employees, need unions as much as blue-collar workers, and women need unions just as much as men.
Oh yeah, I think women need unions more, if anything, than men do, because they're more discriminated against on the job, and you have somebody to protect you and to make sure that your rights are protected.
In a non-union shop, we get paid a lot less than what we get paid in a union shop. At the time, I got paid barely above what the minimum wage is now. In a union shop, it's bigger, it's higher.
I've been a union member ever since I've been with the government, which has been about 4 or 5 years now. And I find that as a union member and really being active in the union, it gives me greater leverage than that person that's sitting on the outside.
You have an important decision to make, maybe the most important decision of your life. I'm convinced that the unions is the way to go, but you have to make up your own mind. You've heard the key advantages: higher wages, better working conditions, and improved benefits. Let me leave you with one last thought. Unions give you something else. They give you dignity.
I have 2 sons that I sent through college, and I have a daughter that we sent through college, my wife and I. And
one of our sons is a dentist and the other one's a pharmacist.
Without the union, we couldn't have done that.
We've had a real good living. And putting our children through school and got them fixed. And Harold and I have a real good, lots of fun now. We travel a lot.
I grew up on a farm, and my daddy died a pauper because of the conditions of never being able to have anything from living on a farm and working non-union work when he wasn't farming. The union has provided a much better living for me and my family.
We maintain a standard of living of dignity through collective bargaining that I think would have been virtually impossible without a labor union.
Companies seem to treat you more as an individual than just somebody that's below them.
I have dignity. You have dignity on the job now.